Welcome to my channel. If you've enjoyed watching one or two of our videos and haven't subscribed yet, click that subscribe button now for more captivating stories like this. Don't miss a single story. The story starts as an airplane soars through the skies. The radio emits static, prompting the crew members to report their observations. One of them, a young man dressed in black, confirmed that the target had been destroyed. The crew acknowledged his response, recognizing his exceptional skills as a top-tier mercenary. Seated nearby were numerous unconscious and injured individuals, and amidst the chaos, woke up and began to question the situation. In response, they informed him that his extensive knowledge posed a threat, and thus, he would be silenced forever. Suddenly, the plane descended rapidly, engulfed in flames that swept through the cabin, culminating in a powerful explosion. When Lin Yuan regained consciousness, he found himself in an unfamiliar place, gripped by fear. He surveyed his surroundings, unsure if he had survived the blast. Clutching his chest and experiencing a throbbing sensation in his head, he realized that his brain had been affected. Overwhelmed by pain, he fell to the ground, reminiscing about an era 1,000 years ago when a blood-red moon shone in the sky and spatial rifts unleashed a horde of monsters, heralding an age of chaos. Across the globe, these merciless creatures ravaged everything in their path, rendering human weaponry useless. After a decade of relentless destruction, only a mere 100 million people remained, teetering on the edge of extinction. However, in this darkest hour, a glimmer of hope emerged: the arrival of the spirit beast master. Gradually, individuals began to acquire their own spiritual beasts, and with each successive generation, the soul beast lords honed and expanded their abilities. Humanity managed to forge a new civilization capable of withstanding the monsters, rekindling hope. Nevertheless, each awakened beast possessed its own classification, ranging from the lowest rank to the prestigious SSS rank. And Lin Yuan, unfortunate as it may be, found himself bonded with a beast soul belonging to the lowest rank. Devoid of both family and friends, he finds himself reliant on his beast soul to carve out a place for himself. However, he endures relentless mockery for possessing a low-rank beast soul, deemed too feeble to warrant courage in attending school. They subject him to humiliation at their whim, deeming him a worthless outcast discarded by society. On the streets, a group of aggressive individuals assaults him, warning him to stay away from Sumu or face fatal consequences. Lin Yuan scratches the back of his head, contemplating that this must mean God took pity on him due to the brutality of his previous life's demise. Then, he notices someone resembling him standing before him, a clone. The clone inquires whether he, too, has suffered abandonment. Lin Yuan watches this scene with suspicion, realizing the grim reality that he cannot move his own body. The clone suggests that if that's the case, they should depart from this cruel world together. Lin Yuan questions whether revenge is not their desire, to which the clone responds that he is deceased and lacks the means to seek retribution, viewing Lin Yuan as nothing more than a pitiful child who has taken over his body. Lin Yuan retorts with a menacing gaze, asserting that being pathetic does not equate to weakness and that they should embrace defeat, allowing the world to determine their fate since they cannot change it or forge their own path. The clone queries whether it is necessary to persist in a life destined for betrayal and if the ensuing pain is worth it. Lin Yuan exclaims that the agony of being devoid of choice is indeed painful, but declares his newfound aspiration to live by his own principles. The clone, touching his hair, conveys skepticism, stating that it all sounds grand, but if he continues to inhabit his wretched body, he will eventually meet the clone's fate. Lin Yuan responds that without making an attempt, he will never know, vowing to prove that even the most insignificant can ascend to the pinnacle and demonstrate that his destiny lies within his own hands. The clone imparted to him that he was on the verge of collapsing and pondered whether he would face death once again. With gratitude, the clone encouraged him to uphold his promise and seek revenge on his behalf, vanishing into thin air. From that day forward, he adopted the name Lin Yuan. It was then that he experienced a sudden realization: he could move freely. He reassured himself not to fret, firmly resolved to fulfill his vow. However, he pondered how he could bolster his own strength. In this world's hierarchy, individuals with low-ranking beast souls were relegated to menial, low-paying jobs, barely scraping by. In dire circumstances, he could revert to his former occupation as an assassin. The system notified him that the beast had awakened and acquired mastery over the beast evolution system, leading to the manifestation of all the characteristics of the black lizard beast. Lin Yuan observed a system window before him, questioning its purpose. Long, the system, greeted him and expressed a commitment to accompany and monitor his growth. Lin Yuan inquired if Long was his beast, to which Long confirmed, solidifying their partnership based on trust. Lin Yuan swiftly rose to his feet and strode in the opposite direction, prompting Long to inquire about his destination and whether he was curious about how Long could assist him. Lin Yuan asserted that he would undoubtedly seek assistance when the time was right, but currently, he had an important matter to attend to. Long reiterated that if he ever required aid, he need only ask. Meanwhile, a girl named Sumu found herself strolling along a narrow street when someone intercepted her, compelling her to halt her escape. She inquired as to the individual's intentions, and in response, he presented her with a bouquet of roses and extended an invitation for a date. She scornfully informed him that he was merely indulging in daydreams, incredulous that he believed she would entertain the notion of associating with tyrants. In response, he acknowledged her possession of an S-rank beast but pointed out that she had only recently awakened it. He had purposely sought out several B-rank beast soul masters. The man inquired if she believed he was incapable of obtaining what he desired. Enraged, she shouted at him, demanding to know what he had done to Lin Yuan. He retorted that Lin Yuan had been too arrogant and had dared to cross his path. Now, with only the two of them remaining, she had no choice but to accompany him. Suddenly, someone swiftly dashed through his guards with remarkable speed, approaching him from behind. It was Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan seized him by the neck and began to choke him. The man realized it was Lin Yuan and called out his name. Lin Yuan smiled and remarked that he had found him. As his guards comprehended the situation, they lunged forward, closing in on Lin Yuan. However, before they could take any action, Lin Yuan delivered a powerful kick to the man's back, swiftly distancing himself from the guards. While the guards attempted to apprehend him, Lin Yuan swiftly outpaced them, leaving them far behind. As the guards redirected their attention to him, the man who had received the blow fell face first to the ground, causing numerous petals to scatter from the bouquet. Filled with fury, he angrily pointed his finger at Lin Yuan and ordered his guards to kill him. The men dispersed, advancing toward Lin Yuan with menacing gazes, and declared their intent to utilize transformations. At that moment, each guard underwent a colossal transformation, assuming the form of enormous beasts. Observing this, Lin Yuan contemplated the concept of transformation, noting their striking resemblance to animals, and wondered if he could do the same. Long replied that his beast was merely a common lizard. Evolution points were obtained through absorbing others and winning battles, thereby acquiring chests containing rewards. He confidently stated that he didn't require the transformation to emerge victorious. Long, filled with fear, shouted and questioned whether he intended to expose himself to attacks in his human form, deeming him crazy and warning that he would be easily killed with a single strike. He countered, asserting that if he were to transform, he would perish even more swiftly, recalling his past life as an assassin. In that moment, the man commanded his guards, inquiring why they were hesitating and urging them to attack. The guards, now monstrous beings, began to approach him, emitting fierce growls. Lin Yuan silently observed the unfolding events, and suddenly, a brilliant light illuminated the surroundings. The man, wearing a treacherous expression, mockingly declared Lin Yuan an idiot, convinced that he would be torn apart. Amused by his own conclusion, he laughed. However, a dense cloud of dust materialized before him, catching his attention. Through the haze, he discerned two shadows, and his alertness heightened. Swiftly, Lin Yuan sprinted forward, leaping onto the shoulders of one of the monsters. He wrapped his legs around the creature's neck and proceeded to twist its head. After a moment's struggle, he succeeded, causing the monster's blood to spurt. Descending to the ground, Lin Yuan witnessed the complete destruction of the monster. Sumu, astonished by the sight, realized that he had defeated a B-rank beast with his own hands. Overwhelmed with gratitude that his skills from his past life had not disappeared, he knelt down, acknowledging the frailty of his current body. Sumu continued to marvel at his newfound strength while Long exclaimed, congratulating him on vanquishing a B-rank beast and receiving a black chest of his own. He expressed keen interest in the chest and inquired about its contents. A chest descended from the sky, prompting Long to exclaim that it could potentially hold valuable items such as super equipment or skill leveling points. Excitedly, he called for the chest to open, while Long explained that it contained a random skill book. He could acquire a skill of varying levels, ranging from rank E to rank A, with a 1% chance of obtaining an A-rank skill. He extended his hand towards the system window, believing that anything other than a rank E skill would be acceptable. Suddenly, a gleam of light appeared, surprising Long, who exclaimed that it was an A-rank skill. It was a skill called Daylight, which, when activated, emitted a powerful white light capable of melting even steel, with a maximum temperature of 100,000 degrees. He was thrilled to have acquired an A-rank skill, and Long commented on his incredible luck, suggesting that they should consider buying a lottery ticket. Meanwhile, Lin Yuan pointed his finger at the stunned man, who still had the three beasts behind him, and stated that it was not the time to celebrate. The man, pointing his finger back at Lin Yuan, shouted to his monsters, instructing them to kill him and promising to reward them with 10 million. The creatures eagerly anticipated this opportunity for victory. Suddenly, Sumu turned to Lin Yuan and offered to summon her beast and assist him. However, he stopped her with a gesture, stating that it was unnecessary and asking her to move away. He believed that she was one of the few who had shown him kindness and he wouldn't allow any harm to come to her. At that moment, a colossal monster materialized above him, creating a whirlwind around its body. With swift movements, he evaded all the incoming attacks, then leapt onto the beast's head and swiftly destroyed it with a precise hand movement, twisting its head once more. After these sudden movements, he jumped away from the monster, causing it to crash into a wall and be completely obliterated. Long cheered, declaring it a victory, and another chest was obtained. With a smile, Lin Yuan assumed a defensive position, recognizing the importance of not being mistaken for his past self. Swiftly, he dashed towards the remaining monsters, both he and Sumu exclaiming in awe at his speed. With a single fluid motion, he tore off the monsters' heads and annihilated them. The man raised his hands, protesting that this couldn't be happening, and begged to be spared, admitting his mistake. Lin Yuan's eyes gleamed with an intense light as he spoke with a menacing expression, stating that it was already too late. The man trembled in fear, standing motionless, his body drenched in cold sweat. Sumu, who had been observing from behind, regarded Lin Yuan with admiration, recognizing his immense strength. She turned her gaze away, clutching her backpack, and remarked that they should leave. In response, she caught a glimpse of the broken-head bully and agreed, thinking that he wouldn't bother her anymore. She felt a sense of embarrassment for being an S-rank beast soul master yet failing to protect herself, but Lin Yuan had come to her rescue, revealing his unexpected strength. Surprised by her gaze, he inquired if something was amiss or if there was something on his face that caught her attention. She spoke with a hint of fear, assuring him that nothing was wrong. In a trembling voice, she expressed her gratitude towards him and apologized for involving him in the situation. He reassured her, stating that it was only natural for classmates to help each other. She mentioned that she thought they were friends, to which he asked what was troubling her. She responded with a smile, tinged with embarrassment, and assured him that it was nothing, but it was already late, and she needed to go home. She mentioned that they would see each other at school the following day. In her mind, she wondered what was wrong with her. Long spoke to Lin Yuan, commenting on how lucky he was. However, Lin Yuan lowered his gaze and asked Long not to say such things. He explained that she was one of the friends of the original body's owner, then it was his responsibility to protect her. Lin Yuan then stated that it was time to discuss their situation, his voice trembling slightly. As expected of a former assassin, his demeanor and tone carried an intimidating presence. They arrived at Lin Yuan's house, and upon entering, he shouted, activating his beast soul. In response, his body radiated a bright yellow light. Long was taken aback by the transformation and remarked that in the world of monsters, Lin Yuan would only serve as a snack. Long thought it wasn't surprising that his own beast soul was considered trash. Lin Yuan asked for his advice once again, and Long retorted that he could absorb and earn enhancement points to strengthen himself. He mentioned that Lin Yuan had just received points from the chest. Lin Yuan questioned Long about what he meant by absorption. Long instructed him to eat and pointed his claw towards the refrigerator. Lin Yuan looked at him with confusion, and Long continued, explaining that he needed to consume beast souls, treating them like ordinary animals, and primarily focusing on consuming protein. He also emphasized the need to stay in shape and consume raw meat. Lin Yuan silently observed the raw chicken on the table but didn't approach it. He grew a little frustrated and urged him to eat quickly so that he could strengthen himself immediately. Lin Yuan thought to himself that he would indeed do it in order to level up. He seized the raw chicken by its throat and took a bite of the meat. After a moment, Long informed him that he had successfully consumed the fresh chicken meat. Lin Yuan felt satisfied with the meal and rubbed his stomach, receiving 5 enhancement points. He asked Long if he could use those points to grow, and Long gave his approval. Lin Yuan remained lying on the floor, but suddenly he stood up and exclaimed that he had devoured the food without hesitation and needed more meat. He declared that there would be a meat feast that night. Long expressed his agreement. The following day, as a result of absorbing 100 wild rabbits, Lin Yuan's attributes increased, and his beast grew significantly larger. He believed that not only would his level rise, but his talent would also improve. Upon arriving at school, he sat at his desk, spinning a pencil in his hand. He pondered that although he was no longer insignificant, it wasn't sufficient. He needed to acquire more points, and when he grew even larger, he would have to find a secluded place to avoid attracting attention. He had been reborn and was determined to rise to the top of this world. Suddenly, his classmates approached him, wearing threatening expressions on their faces. He looked at one of them and wondered if this bully named Thong frequently bothered Lin Yuan and Zhang. He questioned why they always acted like idiots. The answer was simple. Among them was Wumo Xuan, the master of one of the S-rank beast souls in the school. Feng continued to shout, insulting Lin Yuan and calling him trash. He demanded to know how much longer Lin Yuan would keep them waiting and urged him to be faster. Another individual chimed in, claiming that Lin Yuan should feel honored just because they allowed him to do something for them. They taunted him, calling him an idiot. In a fit of anger, Lin Yuan shouted at them to leave him alone and snapped the pencil in his hand. Feng pointed his finger at him and yelled, demanding to know what he was saying. Lin Yuan calmly asked if Feng didn't understand the human language. Wumo Xuan approached and remarked that even the weakest A-rank beast soul was being audacious today. He confidently claimed that he could easily defeat Lin Yuan's lizard, advising him not to show off. Lin Yuan stared silently at him, giving off a threatening look. Wumo Xuan continued, saying that trash should remain in the trash, expressing his disdain for having such a weak beast soul in their school. He added that if he were in Lin Yuan's place, he would have perished in a ditch. In response, Lin Yuan regretfully stated that he planned to live comfortably. Wumo Xuan leaned over his desk, speaking in a threatening and loud tone, asserting that he would make Lin Yuan change his mind. Lin Yuan smiled and challenged him to try. At that moment, the teacher entered the classroom and instructed the students to take their seats. The teacher, named Zhang Yu, caught Wumo Xuan's attention, who remarked that Lin Yuan was lucky today but wouldn't be fortunate every day. Long flew over to Lin Yuan and loudly commented on how arrogant he was, yet he remained so composed. Lin Yuan replied that as an S-rank beast soul, it was natural for him to be arrogant, but sooner or later, he would be defeated. Long observed that Lin Yuan spoke such ruthless words with a calm tone, noting that he was becoming like a master. Zhang Yu announced that she would distribute the school's cultivation resources, called beast soul crystals, to the students. The boys listened attentively to the teacher, and Lin Yuan wondered about their nature. Long explained that beast soul crystals were the transformed blood and flesh of a monster after its death. They were typically divided into high, medium, low, and worst ranks, containing immense energy suitable for absorbing beast souls. Furthermore, they could significantly enhance one's abilities. In the world of masters, such beast soul crystals were equivalent to currency, with higher-ranked crystals commanding higher prices. Even low-ranked crystals could cost $1,000. Lin Yuan acknowledged that it was indeed a positive development. Zhang Yu then made a loud announcement that the school would distribute beast soul crystals based on the rank of their awakened beast souls. This practice aimed to illustrate the harshness of the world of beast soul masters, where strength was the sole determining factor. The stronger individuals rose to the top while the weak were eliminated. Survival of the fittest was considered the highest justice in the realm of beast soul masters. Wumo Xuan, whose awakened beast soul was the S-ranked Skeleton King, received 10 high-rank beast soul crystals. He stood up and proudly declared himself the master of one of the 2 S-rank beast souls in the school, with the other belonging to Sumu. Prior to them, there was a high school student who awakened the soul of an S-rank golden sun crow beast and became the strongest lord of the 9 stars. Wumo Xuan was determined to achieve the same level of strength. Zhang Yu approached Wumo Xuan and advised him not to relax despite his high position, emphasizing the importance of developing his talent gradually to become a beast soul master. Wumo Xuan expressed gratitude and assured her that he wouldn't disappoint. Zhang Yu then turned to Zhang, whose awakened soul was an A-rank giant stone beetle, and rewarded him with 5 medium-rank beast soul crystals. Liang, possessing a B-rank hurricane demon wolf soul, received 5 low-rank beast soul crystals. Lin Yuan, with an E-rank lizard beast soul, was granted 5 crystals of the worst rank. Wumo Xuan decided to ask aloud if Lin Yuan intended to break the school record with such a useless beast soul, stating that he didn't believe Lin Yuan would become a master. He suggested that it would be better for Lin Yuan to become an ordinary worker and spare himself the shame. Wumo Xuan and a group of his companions humiliated Lin Yuan, laughing loudly. Lin Yuan approached the teacher and expressed gratitude for the crystals he received. She encouraged him to work harder. With a smile, Wumo Xuan asked once again if the worst-ranked beast soul crystal, worth 1,000 coins, could be exchanged for a bag filled with radiation. He shouted that he had no interest in such trash, even if it were given to him. However, Long whispered to Lin Yuan that lower-grade beast soul crystals were formed when monsters were destroyed by nuclear weapons, resulting in their flesh and blood being contaminated by radiation. Despite this, they contained a tremendous amount of energy that could be absorbed through devouring. Lin Yuan attentively listened to Long's explanation and contemplated how it worked. Zhang Yu assured him that it was acceptable and that she would personally give him a high-rank beast soul crystal. Lin Yuan smiled and thanked her but asked if he could exchange the high-rank crystal for a low-rank one. Angry, she shouted at him, questioning if he could hear what she was saying. She understood his eagerness to increase his beast soul's power but couldn't provide him with countless extremely harmful crystals. He thanked her again and agreed to accept it. He sat in his place with a high-rank beast soul crystal. Wumo Xuan glanced at him, considering Lin Yuan's insignificant talent and questioning why Professor Zhang Yu was so supportive of him. Long once again whispered to Lin Yuan that a high-quality beast soul crystal cost 10,000 coins, while a low-quality one only cost 100 coins. He suggested going to the Beast Soul Palace after school to exchange it. Lin Yuan agreed, acknowledging that it was a good idea. At that moment, someone called out his name. It was Sumu, who approached him with a smile on her face, wondering why he was there. She offered to go home together after school because she had something to tell him. He agreed, and she mentioned that she had just learned from the principal that the person who had been bothering her had left the school, which was great news. Liang, Wo Xuan, and Zhang were surprised to see Sumu approaching him. Liang expressed his surprise, questioning if she was the school beauty and whether they knew each other. Liang was also taken aback and exclaimed why the owner of the S-ranked snow-nilled fox beast soul was associating with someone he considered trash. Lin Yuan and Wumo Xuan engaged in a conversation, wondering why Lin Yuan seemed to be so fortunate despite having the weakest soul. Yuan became irritated and questioned why everyone was so kind to him, from the teacher to Sumu. In the evening, after school, this group intercepted Lin Yuan at the classroom exit. With a smile, Lin Yuan asked them what else they wanted from him. Wumo Xuan loudly questioned what kind of charm he used on the teacher and how he managed to get close to Sumu. He accused Lin Yuan of orchestrating a situation where a wealthy individual detained Sumu so that he could intervene heroically and become her savior, resulting in the bully leaving the school and disappearing. Linen, with a threatening look, asked if it was Lin Yuan who did that. Wumo Xuan shouted that a beautiful girl like Sumu was more suitable for someone with talent, not for useless weaklings like Lin Yuan. Wumo Xuan advised him to stay away from her and asked if he understood. Furthermore, Wumo Xuan warned him that whenever they appeared, he should run away with incredible speed. Lin Yuan contemplated the consequences of starting a fight at school. He didn't want to make things difficult for teacher Zhanggu, who had shown him kindness. With these thoughts in mind, he approached Wan and expressed that he couldn't and didn't want to engage in a fight. In response, Wumo Xuan angrily shouted that he would do Lin Yuan a favor by revealing to Sumu that he was nothing more than trash. However, Wumo Xuan didn't want Sumu to perceive it as bullying the weak. Wuman proposed a wager. If Lin Yuan passed the 7-day beast tests, he would eat a bag of lower-grade crystals, but if he lost, he would disappear from their sight. Lin Yuan acknowledged that it was a serious bet and asked if Wumo Xuan was sure he could handle it. Wumo Xuan confidently stated that there was no reason to fear betting with trash like Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan agreed with a smile and shook Wumo Xuan's hand in approval. After some time, Lin Yuan went to meet Sumu, who expressed that he was late. He explained that something had happened and asked why she called him. Sumu replied with a smile, stating that nothing important had occurred. She had received 10 high-quality crystals from the school due to her possession of an S-rank snow-nilled fox beast soul, and she wanted to share half of them with him. Lin Yuan inquired about what exactly she wanted to share, and she responded, "Crystals, what else would it be?" She had heard that he had only received low-rank crystals because of his E-rank beast soul. She acknowledged his resilience in the fight where he defended her and believed that he was not inferior to AB rank. She encouraged him to train hard as she wondered how he could have been given only low-quality soul crystals. Lin Yuan thanked her for her concern but declined accepting her crystals. She argued that she had heard that the beast test difficulty was not easy, and even B-rank individuals could fail. Since she didn't need all of the crystals, she insisted that he should absorb them as it would greatly aid him in the test. He inquired if she wasn't concerned that by giving him half of the crystals, she might not be able to pass the tests. She turned to him, wearing a slight smile, and assured him not to underestimate her. With her S-rank 9-tailed snow fox beast soul, she could pass the tests even without soul crystals. He listened to her and asked how that would be possible, although he couldn't disclose the reason. However, if they were able to pass the tests, he would accept her proposal. She asked once again if he was being truthful, and they reached an agreement. He confirmed that it was indeed true, but he emphasized that if he failed the tests, the game wouldn't be worth it, so he needed to prepare thoroughly. She acknowledged his point and agreed with his approach. He gazed into her eyes and contemplated that on the day of the beast test, she would be astonished by his strength. Long had mentioned that she cared deeply about him. They bid each other farewell and went their separate ways. Lin Yuan responded to Long, stating that she was talking nonsense and asked her to take him to the Beast Soul Palace. Long remarked on how quickly his mood had changed, and they entered the Beast Soul Palace together. Long explained that the palace was solely intended for Beast Soul Masters and that it was where the beast would be tested. Lin Yuan agreed and expressed his intention to first exchange the crystals. He approached the manager and requested to exchange them for low-grade Beast Soul crystals. The man looked at him with a questioning expression and adjusted his glasses to carefully examine the crystals. He thought Lin Yuan must have gone crazy, trading a high-quality crystal for something worthless. The manager slammed the bag of crystals on the table and stated, 100 low-quality crystals. The commission fee is 500 coins. Lin Yuan calmly responded, placing the bag on his shoulder, that it was all right. Long questioned whether he thought he was some kind of crazy person. Lin Yuan replied, emphasizing that there's a fine line between genius and madness. The man, still in shock, observed them closely. In an abandoned warehouse outside the city, a massive monster stood up and let out a loud roar. The system window displayed the information, Beast Soul Giant Black Lizard, currently in the growth phase. Its talent evaluation ranked it as AB level, 7-star battle beast. It stood at a height of 3.1 meters and weighed 540 kilograms. Its attack methods included biting and claw attacks. As daylight shone, magical sparks surrounded the black lizard's body, and a small purple crystal appeared on its paw. Long was astonished by this and exclaimed that it had successfully absorbed nuclear radiation, earning 1,000 evolution points. Lin Yuan, who had reincarnated as a lizard, remarked that a chicken only gave 5 points, but by absorbing a low-quality soul crystal, he had received 1,000 points. He stated that each level was divided into 9 stars, and his current level was a 7-star battle beast. There were ranks such as Emperor Beast, Lord Beast, Master Beast, General Beast, and War Beast. In his opinion, after absorbing all the crystals, there was nothing difficult about the beast test. A week later, at the Beast Soul Palace, many people were engaged in conversations and urgent discussions. One person expressed nervousness, having absorbed all the soul crystals provided by the school and only possessing a 4-star battle beast. He was unsure if he could pass the test. Another individual sympathized, noting that it was tough since he already had a 4-star beast, which was at least a rank B, while his own beast was a rank D, barely reaching 2 stars. They mentioned that their school had 2 S-rank individuals, the Skeleton King Reptile Wumo Xuan and the 9-tailed Snow Fox Sumu. They didn't even know what level they were. The other person worried that only they would be able to enter Yanning Beast University or the City Beast University. Wumin Xian shouted and reached out towards Lin Yuan, expressing that the soul crystal Professor Zhang Yu had given him had helped his pitiful lizard advance to the 1st level of martial beast. Lin Yuan paid no attention to his inquiries and continued on his own path. Suddenly, Lin Yuan turned around and decided to ask Wuman if he was ready for this. Wuman crossed his arms and continued talking, boasting that his beast soul had already reached the level of an 8-star martial beast, making him confident of easily passing the test. Lin Yuan replied that he didn't ask about that. He asked if Wuman was willing to consume a bag of low-quality crystals. The people around them were greatly surprised by the question and began whispering to each other, believing that Lin Yuan had gone mad. Wuman, with his 8-star battle beast, and his group of intimidating individuals were irritated by Lin Yuan's behavior. However, suddenly Professor Zhang Yu turned to the students and announced that the exam would begin soon. She instructed them to bring their identification and tickets as they entered the palace one by one. Many students felt apprehensive about the approaching events. Wu Moxuan pointed his fist at Lin Yuan and shouted for him to wait until the end of the test when he would be finished. Lin Yuan responded calmly and emotionlessly, stating that it was okay. In the Beast Soul Palace, in the exam area on the 3rd floor, a man positioned in the center of the area called out, "Exam number 95,821, Lin Yuan, please prepare for the exam." Lin Yuan approached the man and confirmed his presence. The examiner carefully examined the documents in his hands and asked if Lin Yuan had awakened an E-rank beast soul. Lin Yuan replied affirmatively. The man felt a tinge of pity, thinking that Lin Yuan probably wouldn't pass the exam, and wished him good luck as he gave him a reassuring pat on the shoulder. After expressing gratitude to the professor for their support, Lin Yuan took a seat in the system chair, put on the helmet, and received a notification from the system that the combat simulation would commence shortly. The countdown from 5 to 1 began, and moments later, Lin Yuan's eyes opened, radiating intense light. He found himself in a barren desert, realizing that there seemed to be no advantageous terrain he could exploit. Suddenly, a loud noise caught his attention, prompting him to look around. In the distance, he spotted an approaching monster, making him cautious. It was a 3-star war beast known as the Desert Wolf, the opponent for the first phase of the beast test. The Desert Wolf began growling loudly, opening its mouth wide. Lin Yuan attempted to dodge the creature's sudden movements, questioning whether it was truly as weak as it seemed. Long asked Lin Yuan if he wouldn't merge with the beast soul. Lin Yuan replied, while observing the monster being attacked, that it wasn't necessary to merge yet. He explained that after being attacked by low-level beasts, it was an opportunity for him to warm up his muscles. Suddenly, several monsters appeared behind him, surprising the professor who was watching. The professor wondered if Lin Yuan had passed the first level. Without relying on the power of a beast soul, Lin Yuan began attacking the new monsters with his own hands, twisting their necks. The professor called for others to witness what was happening, and another person expressed surprise, asking what was going on. The professor, astonished by Lin Yuan's talent, pondered the situation. Lin Yuan had managed to kill a 3-star desert wolf without even merging with the beast soul yet. Everyone was amazed by his abilities. Lin Yuan swiftly dealt with the last monster, causing its blood to spill. With a decisive move, he finally finished off the creature. The teachers began shouting and questioning how Lin Yuan managed to achieve such a feat. Defeating 3-star desert wolves without merging with a beast soul was an unprecedented event. The professor grabbed his head and shouted at the other man, suggesting that Lin Yuan was cheating. After all, the purpose of the exam was to test the strength of the beast soul, and Lin Yuan hadn't even taken advantage of it. The other professors, with serious expressions, acknowledged that what Lin Yuan did was indeed against the rules, but it wasn't considered cheating. They stated that they would observe whether he could pass the 3rd level. If he couldn't, he would fail the beast test. The professor agreed, acknowledging that the first 2 levels were designed for candidates to adapt to the pace of real combat, while the 3rd level was the key. It was almost impossible to pass the 3rd level without resorting to the power of the beast soul. Even with the strength he was displaying now, it was a pity that his beast soul talent assessment was only rank E. If his beast soul were stronger, his future would be promising. Long advised Lin Yuan to save his strength, reminding him that this was just the beginning, and the real test was yet to come. Lin Yuan found himself amidst monsters attacking each other, and suddenly, an incredibly huge monster with bright red eyes appeared before him, staring at him menacingly. Long stated that this was the 6-star king of the desert wolves. Lin Yuan's mouth opened in shock, and cold sweat broke out on his face. He spoke with a serious expression, acknowledging that defeating a beast of this level required a high level of beast soul talent. It was no wonder they said that only candidates with rank A and above beast souls could pass the beast tests in the first year of training. It was time for Lin Yuan to showcase his true strength. He spoke aloud, declaring his intention to merge with the beast soul. Long informed him that he had finally achieved it. At that moment, Lin Yuan's entire body lit up in blue, and the system window displayed all the characteristics of the enormous black lizard he had transformed into. After a moment, Long shouted with joy, announcing that Lin Yuan had reached a higher level. It marked a new beginning for him. Opening his enormous mouth, he let out a loud roar directed at the monster. Suddenly, one of the observing teachers became contemplative and wondered what had happened to the weak animal soul of the lizard. Even the ability to transform into a Tyrannosaurus seemed like a small aspect. The professor shouted and questioned if he had made a mistake during the inspection, doubting if Lin Yuan was truly rank E. Another professor interjected, presenting the documents, stating that he wasn't blind, and if the doubting professor didn't believe it, he should check for himself. The registration card clearly indicated rank E. The perplexed professor shouted again, bewildered, asking what was happening. A beast of such immense size should be, at least of general rank. The situation was incredible. Only a few days had passed since Lin Yuan awakened his beast soul, and he already possessed a general rank beast soul. This meant his talent was not inferior to S rank, but rather in the realms of SS or SSS. The enormous lizard stood before the small, frightened, and defenseless monster. Lin Yuan's achievement in reaching this level was astounding. The monster bared its teeth and leapt high, growling loudly. The lizard's body continued to emanate a radiant magical light. Lin Yuan swung his paw effortlessly, annihilating his opponent. The teachers were incredibly shocked and exclaimed that he had killed the 6-star beast in a matter of seconds. One of them instructed the others to stay and continue recording the details while he reported the situation to the chief examiner. The professor urged hurry, while another professor quickly ran to report what was happening. The reporting professor smiled, thinking that finally an extraordinary talent had appeared in their city. He found the difficulty level of the exam a bit disappointing. Long flew closer to him and shouted that the first 3 levels were necessary to achieve a passing score. Lin Yuan should continue fighting to earn a higher score, as many renowned universities recruited beast soul masters based on their beast test results. Facing a 6-star desert wolf and 10 3-star wolves, it seemed that this level was designed to test the combat abilities of soul masters. Lin Yuan roared loudly, realizing that this was child's play for him. The rest of the wolves approached him, but with a sudden move, he caused their blood to spill. Then, a bright flash of light destroyed one of the wolves, leaving it heavily bloodied. Lin Yuan continued to defeat one monster after another until he had vanquished them all. Afterward, he wondered how many more levels there were. Meanwhile, Chief Examiner Xian was asked why he was called and why there was a rush. Xian inquired if they were unaware that proctors were not allowed to leave the examination area without authorization. The professor informed him that a candidate had extraordinary indicators, so he wanted Xian to personally look into it. Xian asked what was so extraordinary about it. The examiner explained that Lin Yuan's talent assessment didn't match the strength he demonstrated. Xiao Shan replied that there was nothing unusual about that, as many people surpassed their limits during real combat. A rank B could outperform the performance of a rank A. He felt that the situation was being exaggerated too much. The examiner responded with a shout, expressing disbelief that Lin Yuan's talent was only rank E. Zhao Xian turned abruptly towards him and shouted back, questioning how he dared to participate in the beast test with such low talent. He believed the student was audacious, and the examiner was only summoned because the student awakened a rank E beast soul. The examiner retorted, "Mr. Zhao Xian, first you need to look at his fight and then draw conclusions." He proceeded to go to the computer to display everything happening in the examination area. Zhao Xian argued that it couldn't be possible for a rank E beast soul master to pass the tests. At that moment, there was only the remaining dust from the fierce battle around the lizard's body. Zhao Xian observed this and became cautious. He shouted and asked if they were certain that Lin Yuan was rank E. Another examiner chimed in, understanding why they had called him there. He believed that Lin Yuan possessed the strength of at least a beast general. Many monsters gathered around him once again as he reached the 10th level of the test. The 10th level was the last and extremely challenging. Each of the 10 wolves in this level possessed the strength of a 7-star war beast. It was questioned again whether passing level 10 would prove that Lin Yuan had the power of a beast general. Zhao Xian confirmed and added that the top universities would begin competing for him. Without exception, those who managed to pass the 10 levels of the test were considered geniuses. At the very least, this young man's future would be that of a Lord-ranked Beast Soul Master, possibly even an Emperor-ranked Beast Soul Master. The examiners were taken aback by this information, their mouths agape. Zhao Xian interjected, stating that it was too early to discuss such matters and that they would have to see if Lin Yuan could pass this level. At that moment, Lin Yuan contemplated that he had believed the final stage of the skill assessment would involve a boss monster, but instead, there were only 10 desert wolf kings. These creatures directed a menacing gaze towards Lin Yuan. Suddenly, he lunged forward, launching an attack on the creatures while shouting that they were nothing more than trash. He extended his claws towards them, relentlessly obliterating one after another with astonishing speed. He declared that no matter how many there were, they were just a bunch of worthless beings. More and more wolves converged upon him, but he swiftly dispatched them with agility and speed, their attempts to bite him futile against his formidable defense. The examiners realized that he was capable of withstanding the attacks of 7-star war beasts, showcasing exceptional abilities in attack, defense, speed, and explosive power, all perfectly balanced. One of the examiners exclaimed that if this truly reflected his talent level, then they might as well commit suicide. The surroundings were enveloped in a blue hue emanating from the defeated monsters, while Lin Yuan gazed into the distance, thinking that there were 6 more challenges to overcome. He opened his mouth, causing the wolves to become extremely cautious as they faced the monstrous figure before them. Zhao Xian, filled with fear, wondered about the magnitude of power displayed. In that moment, Lin Yuan unleashed a radiant burst of energy, illuminating the entire area, and decided to eliminate them all at once. He created a brilliant beam aimed at the monsters, obliterating everything in its path. Following this, Lin Yuan let out a resounding roar and raised his head. The examiners were bewildered, unable to comprehend the nature of the technique he had employed. They watched with a mix of fear and astonishment as the events unfolded in the examination field, where everything dissolved into dust. A moment later, the system reported that candidate Lin Yuan had successfully passed all stages of the beast test. Lin Yuan experienced a sense of relief, realizing that the beast trial had been much easier than anticipated. Having triumphed over the final level, it meant that he was guaranteed a good score. He contemplates how many people will be taken by surprise when the results are announced. After all, even Wumo Xuan, with an S-rank talent, couldn't pass the beast test. He wants to seize this opportunity to show all the universities that even a rank E beast soul can possess tremendous power. Long also believes that the examination is now over. Lin Yuan then removes his helmet, revealing his face. 2 men beside him gaze at him with perplexity. Lin Yuan's profile is displayed on the computer screen, indicating that he is an 18-year-old male. His awakened animal soul is a black lizard. His talent rating corresponds to rank E, and his actual strength is equivalent to that of a 3-star beast general. However, the data obtained from the combat simulation may contain some errors. The men look at him in horror, realizing that at only 18 years old, and less than 2 weeks after awakening his beast soul, Lin Yuan has already reached the rank of a 3-star beast general. It is an utterly terrifying power. Jia Shan looks at Lin Yuan with a stern expression and congratulates him on successfully passing all levels of the beast test. He asks Lin Yuan if he understands what this accomplishment means. Lin Yuan smiles happily and asks if it means he has achieved a good score. One of the examiners joyfully explains that it means more than just a good score. Lin Yuan has demonstrated remarkable talent and strength, which will undoubtedly attract the attention and competition of the beast universities in Yanjing and Modu. Lin Yuan responds positively, stating that this is good news, and inquires about when the results will be published. The examiner replies that if nothing unexpected happens, the lists will be announced later that afternoon. In that moment, one of the examiners observes that others would usually feel excitement or joy in such a situation, but Lin Yuan remains remarkably calm. Lin Yuan emerges from the capsule and respectfully bows, expressing gratitude to everyone present. He then mentions that if there is nothing else, he will take his leave. General Zhong calls out to Lin Yuan, requesting him to wait. Surprised, Lin Yuan asks if there is something additional. Shaoxin inquires about why his talent is only ranked E and wonders if there were any issues during the awakening of his beast soul. He assures Lin Yuan that if he has any problems, he can approach him for assistance. Lin Yuan explains that there are no issues, clarifying that his beast soul was indeed weak during its awakening, resulting in its classification as a rank E. General Zhao Xian's worries were unfounded. However, almost immediately, one of the examiners turns to the chief examiner with suspicion, questioning whether he believes Lin Yuan's explanation. The chief examiner responds in a confused manner, stating that it doesn't seem like Lin Yuan was lying but expresses surprise at his character. Zhao Xian observes Lin Yuan and notes that despite achieving impressive results, he doesn't display arrogance, which is highly commendable. Zhao Xian predicts that another Beast Soul Master with immense power will emerge in the future. Meanwhile, near the Beast Soul Palace, numerous students engage in animated discussions about the impending exam. Suddenly, Su's voice rings out as she cheerfully calls out to Lin Yuan. She stands near a tree, enthusiastically waving at him. When she reaches Lin Yuan, he immediately asks her how it went and if she passed the exam. Sumu exclaims with excitement that she did pass and her grades were good. Lin Yuan asks if it was truly the case and inquires about the number of levels she completed. Sumu responds with a smile, revealing that she completed 9 levels. Lin Yuan looks at her in surprise, acknowledging that it is an excellent accomplishment. He didn't expect her to complete 9 levels, indicating that her powers have increased more than he anticipated. Sumu wants to ask about Lin Yuan's evaluation, but she is unsure how to approach the topic, considering that individuals with a rank E talent usually struggle to pass the first level. However, she will be pleasantly surprised later. Lin Yuan joyfully declares that the exam is over, and they no longer need to worry about grades. He invites Sumu to join him for dinner to celebrate her success. Sumu smiles and extends her hand, expressing that it's alright. She eagerly declares that she wants a large bowl of noodles. Lin Yuan responds with surprise, asking if that's all she wants, just a bowl of noodles. Sumu explains that she's so hungry that she'll eat whatever he gives her. As Lin Yuan starts contemplating that the restaurant is far away and they might miss the announcement of the lists, Sumu takes his hand and starts running. She smiles and remarks that the results have already been determined, and what will be announced is just the ranking. Lin Yuan agrees in his thoughts, believing that regardless of the outcome, no one can surpass his grades. Sumu continues pulling his hand, urging him to go faster because she's hungry. Lin Yuan immediately understands and agrees. At 1 p.m. on the Beast Soul Palace Square, amidst the crowd, someone shouts, demanding that people make way. Students wonder who this person is, and it turns out to be Wumo Xuan, an S-rank Beast Soul Master who completed 7 levels, the same result as the previous year's winner. He is strong and considered to be the main contender this year. The talent of an S-rank Beast Soul is terrifying, and with these results, he would be able to enter one of the best universities. At that moment, Wumo Xuan triumphantly thinks that his exceptional personality is attracting attention from all sides. He had prepared for this exam and even asked his parents to purchase an expensive pill to maximize the potential of his beast soul in a short period of time. One of his friends asks why he hasn't seen Lin Yuan. Wumo Xuan confidently replies that it's not even worth asking, as obviously Lin Yuan was hiding somewhere, daring to challenge him with his level. The friend exclaims with a malicious smile that Lin Yuan is amusing, stating that if he were in Wumo Xuan's position, he wouldn't dare utter a word and would have buried himself in the ground long ago. Feeling ashamed, another friend lets out a sigh and adds that they would have liked to witness this spectacle, but Lin Yuan didn't even show up. They consider him a true coward. Suddenly, Wumo Xuan interrupts their conversation and declares that since Lin Yuan doesn't want to come out, he will remain a coward for the rest of his life. He also believes that Lin Yuan's avoidance is exactly what he desires, so he won't appear again. At that moment, Lin Yuan's voice is heard, as he turns to Sumu and explains that, as he mentioned before, the restaurant was quite far away, but she insisted on eating there. Sumu responds with a laugh, assuring him that everything is fine and they made it just in time. She happily mentions that she enjoyed her meal. Wumo Xuan turns around and notices them passing by. Sumu smiles happily, while Lin Yuan says something to her. Wumo Xuan starts to grow increasingly irritated, considering Lin Yuan to be an idiot for daring to appear in front of him with Sumu. He approaches them and asks in an irritable tone if this isn't Lin Yuan, noting that he seems calm and implying that his test score must be decent. Lin Yuan briefly replies, confirming that he is indeed satisfied with his performance. One of Wumo Xuan's friends mockingly asks if Lin Yuan is happy with such modest results, suggesting that it must have been difficult for him to pass the first level. Another friend joins in with a malicious smile, commenting that anyone can overcome the first level without any skill, and inquires if there were actually people who couldn't. Those around who hear this start to laugh and advise against shaming Lin Yuan too much. They appreciate that a person with an E-rank talent had the courage to participate in the exam. Wumo Xuan leans towards Lin Yuan, pointing a finger at him, and reminds him that he hasn't forgotten about their bet. In response, Lin Yuan scratches his head and admits that he almost forgot, but now that he remembers, he asks if Wumo Xuan is ready to lose. Upon hearing this, Wumo Xuan becomes very angry and exclaims, questioning how Lin Yuan can dare to play around with someone like him. At that precise moment, the clock strikes exactly 2 o'clock, and a wave of shouting erupts as people announce that the lists have been published, revealing the exam results. Questions immediately arise among the crowd as they learn about the announcement. Wumo Xuan, being the first to react, exclaims joyfully that he is this year's champion. He quickly scans the list and discovers that Sumu is in second place, having achieved a score equivalent to 9 levels in the beast test. He looks at it with bewilderment, wondering if he has obtained the third place. Are there truly 2 individuals ahead of him? Continuing to read the list, Wumo Xuan's surprise deepens as he finds his own name in third place. He had managed to pass the beast test, but Sumu's talent surpasses his expectations. If she completed 9 levels and is only in second place, then what kind of extraordinary individual could be in first? Drops of sweat trickle down his face from a mixture of excitement and nervousness. In the grand announcement, it is revealed that Lin Yuan has received a score equivalent to 10 levels in the beast test. Wumo Xuan can't believe his eyes. He is utterly stunned. How is it possible for Lin Yuan, with his E-rank beast soul, to pass 10 levels? People in the crowd begin to wonder who Lin Yuan is, acknowledging his incredible feat of completing 10 levels. There were only 10 levels in the exam, and he is a true monster. They speculate about the kind of beast soul Lin Yuan awakened, as its power has reached an astonishing level, surpassing even Sumu and Wumo Xuan. While Sumu managed to complete 9 levels, she unfortunately encountered a formidable opponent. The most embarrassing realization for Wumo Xuan is that he had boasted excessively before the results were announced, only to end up in third place. He grabs his head with his hands, feeling a mix of horror and disbelief. At this moment, Lin Yuan approaches Wumo Xuan and reminds him with a smile that he had previously stated Wumo Xuan would lose. He suggests that it's time for Wumo Xuan to fulfill the terms of their dispute. Lin Yuan adds, still smiling, that he personally prefers to eat dried inferior crystal pouches, whether seasoned or not. Suddenly, a crowd notices Lin Yuan and exclaims with joy, recognizing him as the one who secured the first place. Sumu also looks at him and realizes that his rank is higher than hers. This explains why she wasn't surprised when she shared her own results. However, the question remains, how did Lin Yuan achieve such a feat? Wumo Xuan starts shouting frantically, claiming that this is impossible. How can someone with an E rank and considered an idiot achieve such a result? He accuses Lin Yuan of cheating. The crowd hears this, and chaos ensues. Perplexed, people start asking if Lin Yuan really cheated and if Wumo Xuan's accusation holds any truth. Amidst the confusion, someone questions if Lin Yuan is truly Lin Yuan, and if he cheated, what about Sumu? She is present as well. Lin Yuan overhears these doubts and asks angrily if Wumo Xuan truly believes he would resort to cheating to win. Wumo Xuan screams back, emphasizing that Lin Yuan possesses an E-rank beast soul, so how could he have possibly passed the 10 levels of the beast test? The audience hears this and immediately starts pondering. After all, an E-rank beast soul is considered the weakest. How could Lin Yuan have managed to complete 10 levels? Many believe he must have cheated, as this is a genuine combat simulation where nothing from the outside world can be brought inside. Disappointment lingers in the air. Long appears next to Lin Yuan, causing surprise among the onlookers. He sighs and remarks that doubts have arisen. Lin Yuan then turns to Wumo Xuan and challenges him by asking who said that an E-rank beast soul couldn't pass the exam. He asserts that it's not written anywhere in the reference books, questioning the validity of Wumo Xuan's claim. However, Wumo Xuan continues to persist in his own opinion, adamantly shouting that Lin Yuan should not become complacent. He declares his intention to file a petition with the Beast Soul Palace Court and expose the questionable methods he believes Lin Yuan used. Curious about the court, Lin Yuan asks for more information, and Long explains that candidates who have doubts about the evaluation can bring their concerns to the Beast Soul Palace Court. However, such meetings are rarely convened and are mostly based on the assessments of others. Undeterred, Lin Yuan turns to Wumo Xuan and asserts resolutely that he can do whatever he wants, but if it turns out that Lin Yuan is not guilty, Wumo Xuan will have to fulfill the terms of their dispute. Long adds that an S-rank beast soul does not take kindly to losing. Wumo Xuan, once again, points his finger at Lin Yuan and shouts, expressing his outrage. Suddenly, someone from the crowd asks about the commotion outside the palace. The crowd turns their attention and sees a person approaching, accompanied by a bear with its mouth wide open. The sight surprises them, and they exclaim that it's Examiner Zhao Xian. Long also acknowledges the impressive presence of Examiner Zhao Xian, noting that it's as expected from a master beast soul of Lord rank. His power of suppression is formidable. Lin Yuan observes this and ponders the significance of a master beast soul of Lord rank. The crowd begins to exclaim again, recognizing Chief Examiner Zhao Xian. Rumors circulate that his majestic and fierce bear has already reached the level of a 7-star lord. Among all the master beast souls of Lord rank, he is known to be exceptionally strong. As Zhao Xian approaches, he poses a threatening question, asking if he heard correctly that someone wishes to go to court. Wumo Xuan steps forward, lowers his head, and replies that he wants to file a complaint because he believes that the evaluation of Lin Yuan is baseless. He then turns around, points his finger at Lin Yuan, and exclaims that Lin Yuan awakened a beast soul of low rank but was still able to pass 10 levels, deeming it abnormal. In response to Wumo Xuan's intention to seek a reasonable explanation from the Beast Soul Palace, Sha Shan explains that he happened to be present during Lin Yuan's examination and witnessed the entire process from beginning to end. He affirms that he found nothing out of the ordinary. Zhao Xian then questions Wumo Xuan, asking if he insinuates that Zhao Xian himself assisted Lin Yuan in cheating. Wumo Xuan hastily attempts to clarify his position, acknowledging that Zhao Xian, as the pride of Zhenhai, should not be doubted. However, Wumo Xuan emphasizes that Lin Yuan's awakened beast soul is ranked as an E-rank talent, implying that everyone present understands the implications of such a ranking. Someone in the crowd further adds to the inquiry, questioning how Lin Yuan managed to complete 10 levels with such a low-ranking beast soul. Zhao Xian continues, suggesting that Examiner Zhao Xian should consider releasing the video footage of candidate Lin Yuan as evidence. Zhao Shan responds apologetically, stating that he is unable to agree to the request as the regulations of the Palace of the Soul prohibit the examiner from disclosing information about the candidates, except in special cases. Smiles slightly and says that since the fight video cannot be published, there is another way to verify the authenticity of the results. He then orders Shan to speak. Xuan immediately exclaims that they should be allowed to have a duel. He suggests that if Lin Yuan wins, it will prove the accuracy of the assessment, but if he loses, it will be enough to prove that his score was obtained dishonestly. The crowd begins to cheer, believing that Wumo will humiliate Lin Yuan. Hearing this, Sumu angrily exclaims how repugnant Wumo Xuan is, doing whatever he wants to humiliate Lin Yuan. However, Lin Yuan gestures for her to calm down and says that it's okay. Long, observing the situation, notes that Wan's thoughts are obvious. He wants to take the chance to fight Lin Yuan and then prove to everyone that he is a loser. Lin Yuan looks closely at Wan and responds that this is very time-consuming. Wumo Xuan turns to the examiner, Zhao Shan, and clarifies that it is not prohibited to challenge soul beasts on the palace grounds. This is confirmed as true, but it is also necessary to find out the opponent's opinion. At this moment, those around are wondering if Lin Yuan will accept the challenge. Someone responds that the situation is so tense that he has no other choice. If he refuses to accept the challenge, everyone will consider him a cheater. Wumo Xuan smiles slightly and asks if Lin Yuan dares to fight him. Sumu stands beside Lin Yuan and tells him that if he's not sure, he can refuse. However, Lin Yuan explains that if someone provokes, then it's useless to tolerate. The only way to make him fear is to break his bones. With these words, he raises his hand and says he agrees to the fight. The crowd hears this and is perplexed. An S-ranked beast soul will fight against an E-ranked soul, which has never happened before. However, the level difference is so great that Lin Yuan will likely be defeated. Yet, he is the first person in the city to pass the 10 levels of the beast test, so the outcome of the battle is difficult to predict. Zhao Shan explains that he believes this fight is unnecessary, as Lin Yuan and Wumo Xuan are both top students at Zhenhai City, holding the first and third ranks respectively. There is no need for them to fight to the death over such a minor matter, especially since Zhao Shan has already verified that Lin Yuan did not cheat on the exam. When Wang hears this, he angrily wonders why both Zhao Shan and Lin Yuan are helping Lin Yuan. He questions why Lin Yuan is so special that they are covering for him. Wang then shouts at Lin Yuan, challenging him to a fight, and hoping that Examiner Yuan will witness it and see Wang tear Lin Yuan to pieces. Yuan announces that the fight will take place in the Beast Soul Palace Arena, and anyone who wishes to watch can come. When both sides are ready, Xian explains the rules. This is just a practice fight, so they can fight with full intensity but are forbidden from killing each other. The fight will end as soon as one side admits defeat, and the use of any foreign objects is prohibited. With the rules clear, Wumo Xuan and Lin Yuan stare intensely at each other, and both respond, yes, when asked if they are ready. Zhao Shan then declares the battle started. Immediately, Wumo Xuan tells Lin Yuan that everything that happens is his fault. But Lin Yuan responds that if Wumo Xuan simply begs for mercy, he may consider sparing him from having to give up his inferior crystals as part of their bet. Enraged, Wumo Xuan shouts for Lin Yuan to die, and activates his beast soul fusion, transforming into a massive skeletal lizard, the reptilian skeleton king. The audience is shocked by this powerful S-ranked soul. Wang attempts to hit Lin Yuan with his tail, but Lin Yuan jumps to avoid the blow. The crowd wonders why Lin Yuan hasn't transformed and merged with a beast soul himself. Sumu watches from the side, thinking that Lin Yuan's beast soul is just a small E-ranked lizard. She's puzzled about how he managed to pass the 10 levels of the test. If Wumo Xuan dares to hurt Lin Yuan and San doesn't intervene, she is prepared to step in. By her side, Long turns to her, reassuring her silently that Lin Yuan won't lose to Wumo Xuan. At this moment, Lin Yuan smiles slightly and says that since Wumo Xuan wants him to merge with the beast soul, he will grant his wish. He begins the merging process, rising into the air and surrounded by bright rays of light. In the next moment, a large black lizard appears in his place, larger than Wumo Xuan's beast soul. The audience is stunned, unable to believe that it's an E-ranked beast soul. The reptilian skeleton king is also perplexed, finding it impossible that an E-ranked soul could have grown so fast. The black lizard looks down and asks what happened to Wumo Xuan's beast soul, then raises its paw and declares that an E-ranked soul shouldn't be weaker than an S-ranked one. Immediately after his words, the black lizard then attacks, ready to prove its superiority.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more content. Feel free to leave a comment down below sharing your thoughts or suggestions. If you want to stay updated on all our latest uploads, click the notification bell icon. And hey, why not check out some of our other videos popping up on the screen right now? If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by liking, sharing, and subscribing. It really means a lot. Peace.